Hello everybody and welcome back to game number 2 of the Fever Clan Finals. My name is Dark Slayer. In last game, we had a slow build to an explosive finish of billydabob taking the series 1-0. Now, we're on my favorite map of the old pool, as the new pool is out and I haven't got a chance to look at all the maps. But of last season, my favorite map, Abyssal Reef. I just love the physics. I love the way everything looks on this map. It's sexy, it's awesome, and it's great. But first, before we get into anything that's going on right now, let's introduce our players. Spawning up here at the top left-hand side, we have our purpley Zerg. Bringing the series 1-0, it's billydabob. And spawning down here at the bottom right, being scouted by billydabob, we have the one, the only, Synizta. After casting last week's match, it was funny, Synizta actually messaged me and was really excited and happy to let me know I said his name correctly. He was really interested if I'd be able to get it right because so many people screw up the pronunciation of his name. And to be honest, I almost did. At the time of recording, I actually looked at his name and like in the back of my head I was like, oh no. But I wung it and I got it right. So, yay me. But let's take a look at the production tab and see what we got going on here. We do have the cybernetics core down for Synizta. He is going for the wall off in the main. Now it's important to know that he's doing this because there is no pocket expansion on this map. So he isn't going to be going for any type of quick expansion. And as I said, he does send a probe down, which I find quite fascinating. We're going to have to see what he does to further wall off this area as he is fighting a Zerg. Most players will take these two buildings and they'll put them either right here or they'll put one here and then one here. And then you've got this to like wall off and you got a little space here for a Zealot, but obviously this is a lot easier to protect against. We'll have to see what Synizta does decide to do to further the wall off at that expansion. We do have billydabob taking both gases in the main, leaving his options open. We're going to have to see if he decides to take speed or throw down the Roach Warren, as he has yet to take a third expansion. Now this could be a little bit slower than normal, or he could just be going for a few more drones before he does decide to take that expansion. Now, we do see the robotics facility coming down for Synizta. Now, this is important because he's going to have robotics units out very quickly, which is going to put billydabob in an odd scenario depending on what he goes for. Billydabob on 2 bases and going for lair. We saw this last game, and it made me want to say that he was going to go for a Mutalisk build. He had a lot of gas, he took that lair, and I was convinced he was going Mutalisk, but I can't say that about billydabob this time. I'm going to assume he's trying to get Roach Ravager out and do a push with that, but we will have to see. And as I anxiously await whether this third base does go down for billydabob, we have a lot of gateways coming down here for Synizta, and he is going to get the Observer out. So he's not going to go straight for Immortals. We'll have to see what he does go for after that, and he does decide to go for the Immortal. So billydabob is going to have to be extra careful, and we're going to have to keep our eye on Synizta because this is right now setting up for an all-in. The way I'm looking at this build, he's got out a couple sentries, he's getting that energy nice and quickly, and he wants to get enough energy for a Guardian Shield and some force fields to protect his Immortals and all the gateway units that are going to be coming out. Now, we're going to have to see if he does decide to do that, but it does seem like he is posturing in that position. billydabob, I got excited, I thought this was a drone, I thought he was finally taking that third base, but he is yet to take the third base. However, he does have the 1-1 coming down for the Roaches, so we aren't going to see a push super soon here from billydabob, as he's got at least 114 seconds before that upgrade does finish, meaning that he either wasted money on them if he attacks too early, or he's going to wait for that timing to push our pink Protoss Synizta. So I do enjoy how he did this wall off. You know, I wasn't quite sure how he wanted to go about it. But he went for a pylon here, 3 gateways, and an additional pylon here. It allows you to just have 1 zealot here instead of having to wall this and then deal with this opening. Now, normally, if you're going to take a 3rd expansion right here, this isn't much of an issue. We do have the scout coming in from billydabob, which means he does have information about the 2 immortals and the warp prism being chrono boosted out. He doesn't know that it's a warp prism, but he sees that the robotics facility is being chrono boosted. Now, back to my previous point for 1 second here, is that if you're going to take a 3rd base, normally this kind of wall off isn't necessary. However, whenever you are going for an all-in, I'm almost positive we have coming in from Synizta. Actually, did he pick up the immortal? He picked up the immortals. Okay, so we're actually going to have a double immortal drop to try to kill some drones. We'll have to see how that plays out. I'm not quite sure how it will play out, as we do have spore crawlers, but of course warp prisms do have that long range pickup, so we'll have to see if he gets close enough to take damage from the spore crawler or not. We have roaches on the way, and the 3rd base is down for billydabob, always classically late on taking his 3rd base. And here we go, Synizta now in position, going to drop the 2 immortals. We'll have to see how much damage they can deal. I'm pretty sure billydabob smelled the all-in too, as he built a spine crawler and is adding lings to his composition. I could be wrong, but that's what it feels like right now. And here we go. We do have the immortals dropping in. We do have 1 worker, 2 worker. We'll hit Control R. You're a total of 2 workers, and he's going to try to take out that building before he has to pick up. But it looks like he needs to pick up right now, or that immortal is going to go down. And he does decide to do the hot pickup and get out of there. Not quite capable of getting the Roach Warren, and I think that is... No, he is going to continue the pressure, dropping the immortals now onto the natural expansion. We did not get any more drones yet, so no more drones did go down. He did damage a few of them, but none of them did quite go down, so the pressure pretty easily negated here by billydabob, doing a good job making sure those drones stay alive. Meanwhile, Synizta behind this, not taking that 3rd expansion, but as you can see, right as I say that, he wants to prove me wrong, so he sends a probe up there. But aside from that, we still have that immortal stalker sentry composition coming in from Synizta, a very Heart of the Swarm and Wings of Liberty composition to go up against... Oh, there was action up here. We'll have to check. Oh, wow. Oh, that's workers killed, or units killed. I thought that was workers killed. I thought I missed a whole bunch of workers going down, but I did not. But anyways, as I was saying, this is a very immortal sentry stalker composition. This is a very Heart of the Swarm and Wings of Liberty-esque build to fight off those roaches. Most players do not tend to go for... Oh, he did get the Roach Warren. Nice night. Most players tend to go for Hydralisk Lurker or some form of like Ling, Baneling, Mutalisk build nowadays. They don't tend to go for this roach heavy composition, but billydabob does, and Synizta taking advantage of that. However, it is important to note that the Hydralisk Den is down, so we will be seeing Hydralisks on the field. And the problem with this composition is it can't deal with Hydras very well. Hydras deal a lot of DPS, and there can be a lot of them, whereas all of these units are single target, so they can't AoE the Hydras down, and their DPS isn't as high as the Hydralisk. So we'll have to see how Synizta decides he wants to deal with those Hydras or not, and he is going to get another Queen. These Immortals have been pesky all game. I'm pretty sure they've killed the Roach Warren at least twice. He gets another drone kill, gets all of the Zerglings, and billydabob there with a little bit of a late reaction to picking up or trying to deal with those Immortals, but they do get picked up and make it out once again. And it's important to note as well that the Immortals have caused billydabob to build extra defensive structures in all of his mineral lines. So that's minerals into structures that he didn't necessarily want. On top of the fact is it costs drones to get those out. However, we do have 7 Mutalisks almost finished up here for billydabob, so we'll be able to chase down the Warp Prism and get it killed. So we probably won't be seeing it much longer as the Mutalisks are out onto the field. Now, whether he goes up there right this second or not... Oh! Synizta being ballsy. I don't know if he is aware of the Spire and the Mutalisks. Otherwise, I don't think he'd be doing this right now. But the Mutalisks not quite being controlled efficiently. They're not really getting up there and killing that Warp Prism as they should. As you can see, they're kind of just sitting here in the natural. And oh my gosh, billydabob deciding he'd rather go down to Synizta's base than deal with the Warp Prism. Now this, I don't know that I agree with. billydabob is doing a good job. He's got his units spread across the couple expansions now, which is going to make it extremely difficult for Synizta to get those drops in. But the Mutalisk, all they had to do was fly up here and shoot that. So I'm a little surprised to see. If we head back to our base here to see if Synizta is ready for the Mutalisk, it appears that he is. However, that's a decent amount of Stalkers, but that's a lot of Mutalisk. We'll have to see if he decides to engage. He does not. He does immediately pull back, not wanting to engage those Stalkers. So nice positioning there from Synizta, not quite letting billydabob do the damage that he wishes he could do. And once again, the Immortals are in here wreaking havoc on the Zerg base. And is he finally going to? Yes, he's going to bring the Mutalisks up here. And it looks like this Warp Prism is going to go down. No, the Mistmiker, the meteor coming up here. Oh no, what are the hotkeys for billydabob? Okay, so he does have a separate hotkey for his Mutalisks. He doesn't use it. Like, did you see that? That F1 right there? Hold on. Does 3 include his Mutalisk? Oh my gosh, it does. Oh, billydabob, don't do that. No. His 3 hotkey with his army includes the Mutalisks. So now instead of having a bunch of Hydralisks, he's going to have this big clump of Mutalisks to back up his army. And that means that this is going to do very well against it. The Mutalisks do a lot of damage in high number, but unfortunately they're not going to be able to take big engagements at all. Like, Mutalisks are not known for that. They're known for their DPS and how squishy they are. But not in the Hydralisk sense. Hydras are much higher DPS, and here we go. billydabob is choosing to engage here on the natural expansion. One gateway does go down. It looks like he's using the Mutalisk to target down the pylons. In the meantime, the Protoss army is trying to funnel through that top right little funnel there from his third. And oh my gosh, the probes were left open. The Mutalisk doing massive damage there. If we go to the Control R, it looks like he's up to 12 workers killed. He's already surpassed Synizta's worker kill count, and he does see the low Stalker count here, and does pick a few of those off, as billydabob is maxed out, and he has a lot of Mutalisk. He can kill things very quickly. So we're gonna have to see what Synizta decides to do to try to deal with this huge Mutalisk ball. Synizta even adding more Mutalisk, as we can see right here, and the Mutalisk ball now making him cancel that fourth base location, and Synizta is going to have to start expanding, or he will run out of resources. If we look at his third base, it's still got a lot of its resources, but if we head over here to the natural, as you can see, it's already halfway mined out, close to being over halfway mined out. And now we have the one Hydralisk Roach composition coming here for billydabob, and I'm really curious as to what billydabob is going to decide to do here. He's been maxed out, he's gaining resources, and he's not doing anything. This is the best way to let your opponent get back into the game. Right now, billydabob has a huge supply lead. He could be doing massive damage with the Mutalisk and pretty much everything else that he has, as he's got a superior economy, a superior army, and he's just deciding not to engage. He's being very passive, and this is kind of scary. And oh my gosh, let me just fly in here and start wreaking havoc amongst all these probes. I think every single probe is going to go down, but he does try to do the Nexus recall to the natural to get a jump on the Muta, but unfortunately billydabob on top of keeping track of his Mutalisk. And there we go, the Mutalisk going to come here once again. They're going to target down the pylons. I don't know how much I agree with that. I would have went for the Nexus first, but that's just me, and he does get the kill. That was not canceled, and the fourth base is canceled for Synizta once again. So billydabob trying to keep these Mutalisk active, trying to do as much damage as he possibly can, but something that I think billydabob should do in the future is, if you guys look here, if you were to attack these probes and then go into the main, the Protoss has to, watch this, go all the way down, around, up, funnel through their Sim City, and then they'd be right here, and then you could turn around and go back up, and then the Protoss can't follow you. Oh my gosh, I missed this. We have a DT attack from Synizta, taking out the 4th base location of billydabob. However, his 5th base is up, so it really shouldn't be that big of an issue. He should probably pull these drones down here, but whatever. It's alright. It's not really a big deal. And this is what I'm talking about. billydabob, you're still maxed out. You still have insane amount of resources. And yes, I like how you're poking in here with the Mutalisk and you're trying to do damage, but you could literally throw your 200 supply army at him, lose all of it, re-max, and attack again, and you would still be in the lead. But you're choosing to play really passive. You've got up to 6 bases. I mean, you've got 7 and 8 bases. I apologize. You've got a massive force. You're playing well, but I'm not quite sure why you're being as passive as you are, because this death ball is going to slowly get bigger and bigger. We're up to 3 colossi, and it's going to get harder and harder for you to deal with this force that is now moving around the map. This is when he should take the 4th, by the way, because he's got his army out here. He sees the Mutalisk, so he should put the 4th down. But anyways, we are going to have an engagement here in the middle of the map. The Mutalisk are going to start engaging on the army, but as I said, they don't really do well against massive armies, especially now that there are Phoenixes on the field. And he's trying to pick off this army as best as he can as it starts to walk across the map. As you can see, he's trying to do as much damage as he can with the Mutalisk, but they're just too squishy. They don't survive nearly long enough to actually fight an entire army. And we're in a situation where Synizta, or billydabob, is trying to pump out a ton of Hydralisk. He does have a ton of Hydralisk now finishing up and attacking the Protoss army. But unfortunately, he's fighting in a very bad position. He should probably just throw this base away and move back. Right now, he's fighting with maybe an 1/8 of his army, while the majority of the Protoss army is firing upon his units, and he's just melting. His units are going down very quickly. He finally has a bit of a better concave onto the Protoss army, and it looks like he might actually be able to clean this up, maybe. With that DT getting as many kills as it's getting, and the Colossus in the back, it's going to be very difficult. And Synizta doing the smart thing. He's not going for the main base. He's going to stay out here. He's going to pick off as many of the hatcheries as he can find. And ooh, even going up to a 5th base, Synizta feeling ballsy on that 92 supply versus the Zerg that had a bank and a lot of expansions. So Synizta now moving out, or I keep calling billydabob Synizta. billydabob moving out here. He's got his 2-2, and I think Protoss is on 3-3. Yes, but the 3-3 is on the way for a Zerg player, so fortunately he will be able to catch up in the upgrade department fairly soon. However, he wants to avoid a one-on-one engagement. Oh no, right-clicking across the map, and the army does split up. But fortunately, the Protoss army is quite far away, and I don't think it's going to cause any problems for him right this moment. It looks like Synizta wants to stay back, rebuild up that death ball, maybe with some more high-tech units, and secure that 4th base location before he moves out again, which is probably a smart decision. But hold that thought, as we do have another engagement going out, and the Protoss army was A-moving, so we got quite a few volleys from the Hydralisk onto the Protoss army before the engagement does begin. However, that 1-1 upgrade advantage is making it very difficult for the Hydralisk to do the DPS they need to do on that army before their squishiness dies. So billydabob should probably hold off before that, and get that 3-3 before he decides to go in for another engagement. He no longer has that mineral bank that he used to have. Let me check the units tab. He's only on 48 drones, and I think he's stopped drone production because he thinks he has enough. Yeah, as you can see in the production tab, there are no drones on the way here for billydabob, and he continues to pump out roaches. When during this econ situation where Synizta is trying to reestablish, he should be getting out drones because he saw that he traded with the army, and billydabob is smart enough to know Protoss can't remax very quickly. So I'm really surprised he's going for this roach heavy comp and not getting out more drones, but hold that thought as we have another engagement. Lots of Hydralisks this time and a couple of roaches coming in here. Oh, but the storms melt the Zerg army. Very well placed storms there by Synizta, and now we have an even squishier Zerg army than we had before. That's going in for round 2, and it has a nice concave on the Protoss army. Looks like he's trying to right click that Colossus down, but the storms are going to force him to back up once again. Synizta doing a fantastic job with that storm placement. However, the High Templar are very low on energy now, so we're gonna have to see if they continue, if he continues to produce more, if he makes some Archons, or what he decides to do. As you can see, he has no more storm energy. They are completely out. We have lurkers on the way though for billydabob. Excuse me. And looks like we might have another engagement here. Not sure if they quite want to go for it. And they do. They are going to move towards it. But the storms, once again, he must have just got enough energy or warped one in. I didn't quite see to storm that Zerg army once again. Also, I just want to point out, billydabob has just been spreading these like 10 creep tumors like crazy. He's already almost to the base. I mean, he kind of did it in a weird way, though, because you can't go through here if the rocks are up, but I don't know. I'm impressed. Anyways, in the production tab earlier, I did see that we had a fleet bacon go down. Where is it? I know it's here somewhere. Fleet bacon. There it is. He didn't get any upgrades out of it, so I'm not quite sure what he wants to do with it, but we do have one on the field. We'll have to see if he decides to go for carriers or what he decides to end up doing, but hold that thought. We have some lurkers coming in, trying to get that burrowed position on top of the Protoss army. Oh, but Synizta does notice that the lurker did burrow there, and as you just saw, it's probably not a good idea to storm these. He did 3 storms, and the lurker is above half HP, which means that you probably don't want to have to spend 7 or 8 storms energy to kill a lurker. He might have been doing that just to hope that billydabob would pick it up and move it, but he did not, so unfortunately that is not going to work for him. And this Zerg is just all over the map right now. Did he end up building more drones? Okay, he did. We're up to 57, so we had more than we did. I still think he could go for some more. We did have a zealot drop go down over here, but the few mutalisks left on the map are going to get that warp prism. And with the army pulled back, Synizta decides it's time to go forward and deal with the lurker presence. Excellent idea there, seeing that the army was pulled back, knowing the lurkers were still there, and having the sense to go and kill those lurkers. So Synizta in a weird situation. He is once again going to be extremely low on money very soon. He's still on 4 bases, and he needs to get more. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. I'm supposed to be a caster and give you an in-depth analyst opinion, but more money is my analysis. Also, why did Synizta... Okay, I'm talking to you directly right now. There's a base right here. Like, do you see this one? You're trying to take this one. There's one here. You're taking this one. Anyways, we have an engagement going on right here in the middle of the map. This time we had the inclusion of Vipers, but I didn't quite see what happened there as I was yelling at Synizta. And we now have the Protoss Death Ball taking out this very, very low count of Roach Hydra. I'm not quite sure what the plan is there from billydabob. I would like to see some more high-tech units added on. As you can see from this composition, Broodlords would be nice if you have some cover from the 3 Phoenixes. Even Ultra would be nice. Ultra aren't going to last super long against this, but they're going to be able to take hits for you while your Hydralisks do the DPS that they need to do. And a bit of a run by here by billydabob, now going to the north side of the map. He's going to try to take out this Nexus, and it looks like he will get it as the Protoss army is nowhere in position to stop it, and the Nexus does go down. The Protoss now going to come up here and try to fight the Zerg army, and the Zerg army actually willing to take the fight, losing half the Zerg army before finally turning around and engaging the Protoss army, and this Zerg army is just melting. There are Archons, Immortals, Colossi, And the high-tech units for Synizta, there's more and more of them. He's even got the +1, 2 shields, and the Mama Ship Core is on the way. So we'll have to go and see what he decides to do with that. He'll probably just keep it with the army. Synizta. There's a base right here. Synizta. Please. Anyways. Alright. We need to just like stop and see what's going on here. Let's look at the production tab. We see lurkers on the way, roaches on the way. We have Zerg armor on the way for the Vipers. We have a Mama Ship Core over a Protoss Death Ball. Not quite maxed out, but not having the money to want to build it up anymore. And Synizta now going to start pushing forward onto the creep. The Zerg army going to try to posture in a way to do as much damage to this as he possibly can. The lurkers do go forward, but a lot of them are dying before they get the chance to burrow, and the storms are just melting this Zerg army. I don't know if billydabob is going to have an answer. There's so much high-tech units here that I don't know that billydabob is going to be able to kill them off with the economy that he currently has. Not to mention his bases are spread all across the map, which normally looks good on a mini-map if you're a Zerg player, but once you start needing to reinforce, your units are coming from all over the map. Your reinforcements are dying before they can even group up. It takes minutes for them to walk across the map. And billydabob is in a very bad situation. The supply tells the whole story as this Zerg army is trying to struggle to take out this Synizta Protoss Death Ball. And one last A move into the Protoss army. Oh, it wasn't the last one. I figured it was the last one. Protoss ripping away at the Zerg. They're not even going to go look for the other expansions. They don't care. They want blood. They're going for the main. They're going for the tech. They're going for everything that billydabob has because he has no answer for it. We have 2 infestors on the field behind the Zerg army. I don't think they're even going to be able to do anything. They do get a fungal off on some of the Zerg forces, but they go down. The storm's on top just to cement it in. billydabob with the GG. Synizta taking game number 2 for Ire. It is now 1-1. I'll see you in the next game.